Hey, Tommaso, what's going on, man?
Hi, Graham. How are you, bud?
Doing great, man. Obviously, coming up next Tuesday and this Tuesday, you're going to be confronting MSK. But next Tuesday on the show, Great American Bash, edition of NXT, you, Timothy Thatcher, NXT Tag Team title. It's going to be a great matchup. After missing the Great American Bash last year, do you kind of see this NXT Tag Team title match being your opportunity at your redemption, so to speak, against MSK?
Yeah, to be honest, I kind of take every match nowadays as kind of a proving ground for myself, whether it's TakeOver or like a television special or just a regular episode of TV. It's just our audience is so much bigger than it used to be, and it's like feels like every Tuesday that you have the platform, you just got to take advantage of it.
And in this tag team with Timothy Thatcher, you guys have been killing it the last couple months. You guys have been teaming up for the better part of 2021. How you been enjoying this tag team run with Timothy?
It's grown on me, on both of us, I'd say. I don't want to speak for Timmy, but just it started out as kind of a feud that just turned into a mutual respect, and sometimes those things click and the chemistry's there immediately, and other times they don't. And for us, I think we just kind of got chemistry was there right out the gate. One of our first matches with Undisputed Era, Adam and Roddy, when they were tagging, I just remember immediately knowing the second the bell rang, like, oh, okay, we got something there. And since then, it's really just been a good experience. It's different too. It's fresh for me. It's fresh for him. He's obviously very different than say Johnny Gargano was when we were tagging. So it's just different. It's new. It's fresh. It's and having an opportunity now to really take that next step. Timmy's been with us for quite a bit in NXT, and he's never held gold. And that's been a tough last, 18 months or so for me. So I think for both of us, this is just a big moment that, we've been working hard for this for quite a while. So we're ready to show out at the Great American Bash.
Yeah, and you mentioned it right there, the chemistry that you guys have, and you guys work so well together. I mean, the match that you guys just had a couple of weeks ago, it was evident in that outing against the Grizzled Young Vets in the main event of the show, and how great of a match that was, and it was absolutely TakeOver worthy. And kind of going back to, like you said, he's such a different partner, just a competitor in general than Johnny Gargano, who you held the tag titles with previously a couple of years ago. Is it those similarities between you and Timothy that really make this a great tag team? Is it the differences, or is it a bit of a combination of both?
Yeah, a little bit of a combination. I think just being like-minded helps, and that was one of the things that really helped Johnny and I. And it's funny, too, in wrestling that it tends to be, at least in my own experience, the people that you have really good chemistry with as opponents tend to work out the best as tag partners. And Johnny and I were that. We had some matches on the independents, and we had great chemistry, and then when we got paired together at NXT, it just it clicked real quick. And the same with Timmy. We've only had one encounter on the independents, but then when we wrestled each other at War Games and then at the Fight Pit, and it's a like-minded guy. He's real simple to get along with, real easy going backstage, and his style is just so straightforward. It doesn't take much for me to know what he's thinking in the ring, and it's just been it's been easy, and it's hard to use that word sometimes in wrestling, but it's been very, very easy. And like you said, that match with UYV, I think that was one of the ones for us. Even the one with Legado, it just recently we've just had this thing where I feel like it's taken its next step. In the beginning it was good instant chemistry, and lately it's been like, damn, this might be something special. And holding the tag titles could really, really be awesome for us, because it's just it gives you an opportunity to kind of elevate an entire division, and that's something that both of us would really like, because you hold those titles for 6-12 months or longer, whatever it be, and there's just a lot of opportunity there, and there's a lot of great tag teams right now in NXT that we could match up with and probably do some special stuff with.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a deep division right now. You mentioned right there, GYV, Legado, MSK is a team you guys haven't faced yet. So there's such a deep division. There's such a variety of tag teams you guys can go up against. And you've proven so far in the 6 months you guys have been teaming that you can work well with pretty much anyone in the ring, and all those teams you just mentioned are so different from one another, but you can kind of take it to a different level, like you said. And you kind of mentioned a little bit that adjustment period. Those are my words, obviously, not yours, but kind of finding that stride with Timothy as your partner, finally hitting that stride, now have the momentum on your side, going into this tag team title match next week. Was it like that adjustment period for you after being a singles for so long? Because obviously being a tag team before, you have the experience. That's really nothing new. But being a singles for so long, was that like an adjustment period for you at all?
Yeah, big time. It's a whole different mindset you have to put yourself in. Mm-hmm. It just that break on the apron, in some ways it's great, right? Because it's less wear and tear on your body and gives you a breather. But in other ways, it takes you out of a rhythm. It's like any sport, really. You take LeBron James and you sit him for 8 minutes or whatever it be, and he's going to have to get back into his rhythm when he gets back in the game. Mm-hmm. It's the same feeling. It's an adjustment physically and mentally. So, at first when I had to do it, I think we lucked out having that first match being with Undisputed Era, just because it was two guys who they don't let up on putting pressure on you and stuff. So you kind of just have to show up. Yeah. And it put us in the deep water right away. And it helped me too, because it's kind of one of those things. It's challenging as it is. It also has that ride on a bicycle effect where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I've done this, and this, this is, it hasn't changed, and I can just kind of pick up where I left off. So it's different. I like both challenges. I like singles. I like tagging. I kind of enjoy whatever's thrown my direction.
Yeah, and you make the most of any situation that you're in. So that's obviously the mindset you got to have with some of this stuff, and it obviously, like I said before, translates to TV. So that match that you guys had with, like I said, GYV a couple of weeks ago, such a great match. It was just 2 days after the TakeOver, and it absolutely could have happened to the TakeOver, but the show is so, like, there were so many matches, it's obviously to fit everyone in on the card. Do having matches like that, because, you mentioned the Timothy Thatcher first match that you guys had was on a TakeOver. That was arguably, with a lot of people I spoke with, one of the better matches of that show, which is saying something considering we had 2 War Games matches on that same show back in December. Do having those matches with a GYV, an MSK, this is obviously a special with a Great American Bash, but it's not a TakeOver. So does that motivate you? Like, okay, this isn't a TakeOver. I got left off of it. Is that going to make you more motivated to go out there and steal the show even more than you would have if it was a TakeOver special, for example?
Yeah, man. So I feel like everybody's different with their motivations, right? And I'm a little bit more of an internal motivator in the sense that I don't know that you have to actually dangle a carrot in front of me to make me work hard. I mean, I just work hard. But then when you add the external motivator on top of it, which TakeOver is kind of one of those, I guess I just permanently live with a chip on my shoulder. It's the last year I've been on 2 TakeOvers, and that's kind of crazy for me in a calendar year to be on 2 TakeOvers, because I went quite a while there. Not only being on them, but being a feature for most of them. So it's an adjustment, and it is. It's something that I'm very, very well aware of. I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't. Not being on TakeOver in your house and then competing just a couple days later, yeah, there's that piece of me that looks at it and goes, okay, it's weird. I don't even who you even proving it to. Like, can't say, oh, okay, I'm gonna make you regret not putting me on TakeOver. To who? I mean, like, yeah. We still have a television show, and we're still trying to entertain viewers on that, and it's the same fan base. So it's not really like a proving to anything or anybody. It's just this weird internal thing, and then you want to be on everything. I mean, right? It's a very selfish way to look at it, but it's the truth. I want to be on all of it. Like, I want to be on WrestleMania. I want to be on. I want to be on everything. Yeah. So it's a weird one. I mean, like, it's so yeah, we missed TakeOver, but then we go and have that match with GYV on TV, and everyone's talking about it. So it's like it's got its own satisfaction. It's an interesting thing, man. I've been doing it for like 18 years, and I don't think I figured it out yet. It's just, like, I'm excited to do it at the American Bash. That's for me right now. That's like the focal point is, let's do this thing at Great American Bash. Let's have people walk away talking about us. Let's win the tag team titles.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you have a little bit more leverage when takeovers come, because like you said, it's a stacked roster with a lot of people, and there's not room for everybody. But if you have titles, that kind of helps you leverage just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, no, like you said, there isn't one way to figure it out. I mean, like you said, you've been doing it for 2 decades. I don't know if anyone's quite figured it out. You know what I mean? I'm not a wrestler myself, so it's hard to say. But, like, if it was that easy, you could just write a book on it, become a millionaire selling that book. You know what I mean? Like, it's just difficult, I guess. But you have no lack of motivation. You talked about that before. And you're obviously in the greatest shape of your career right now. Anyone who follows you on Instagram can obviously see that. In the last couple of months alone, you've been killing it with the training regimens you talked about, what you've been eating, what you haven't been eating, no cheat meals whatsoever. And it's crazy to see the transformation, because you were already in great shape. It's not like you weren't in good shape before. That's the crazy thing. So kind of speak to me a little bit about that and what the turning point for you was. It the COVID thing when everyone's not going out as much and you're like, okay, I'm going to buckle down. What was that turning point for you to get in the shape that you're in right now?
Yeah, the pandemic was definitely an opportunity that presented itself, and obviously kind of making the best out of a bad situation. I think having so much time at home, and we're so used to traveling and early flights and sleeping in different hotels and long buses and car rides and stuff, and that just takes a toll on your recovery and your ability to actually measure and sit and prep your meals and stuff. So I think it was an adjustment at first when the pandemic hit and I was home so much. Sorry, I have a plane right over my house right now.
No worries.
But once I kind of got through those initial few months, I just looked at it like, okay, well, how do I make the most of this time at home and the ability to recover, and I'm not really wrestling nearly as much as I normally would and stuff. So it was just kind of like the perfect combination of all of that. And then I reached out to a couple buddies of mine who are like-minded when it comes to training. We hooked up, started training together, maybe a couple days a week, as well as the stuff I do at my house. And it just, it kind of grew from there. But it's like I said before, it's that internal motivator. I kind of have this, I don't really compare myself much to others, but I just looked at it like, man, I wonder how far I can push this thing. Once you start getting results, and that's the thing I love the most about fitness. Like, my obsession with fitness and diet comes from the amount I can control it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not much in my life. I have a 2.5-year-old at home, so my schedule I have no control over. It's really it's what she wants to do. It's it's her activities, it's her mood, and that wrestling, you just have such little control over it. There's so many variables that are, just are completely out of your hands. And with fitness and diet, if I eat it and I prep it and I measure it, I know the results. If I train hard and I push extra reps and just bust my butt, I know the results. So I love that.
Yeah.
I just control every variable.
Yeah, no, like you said, if you have the control, it's, at that point, it's just the self-discipline and the motivation, like you mentioned, which is obviously what you have. Was one of those guys you mentioned, the people, the like-minded people that kind of you've been working on with this, someone who, excuse me, you're, the regiment that you're on right now, it seems like Moose is another person who's doing the exact same thing. Was he one of those people that you work with, or am I completely off on that?
No, yeah, I trained with Moose. I trained with him this morning.
Nice.
Yeah, he's... so him and EC3 is another guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fellow by the name of AJ. He goes to the factory, and he does a lot of my nutrition and stuff. And it's just a good group that, we just train hard. Like it's funny because it's I don't know, the perception on social might be different than what it is, but you just get together. You just go, okay, we got 90 minutes here. We're gonna work as hard as we possibly can. Like, there's not much chit chat. You just train as hard as you can, and you get the work done. And all right, we'll see you now. We're all gonna go back to our separate lives.
Yeah.
But yeah, Moose he's one of the guys, man, and he's same thing. Great transformation. He's working his butt off, and he's just a hard worker, man. I appreciate hard work.
Yeah. No, it definitely shines through, and it's awesome to see. And you mentioned before, it's all paying off with the success that you and Timmy have had up to this point, going for the tag titles next week. You mentioned earlier, you want to be on everything, and that's obviously the mindset you got to have, being on the takeovers, being on NXT TV, being on WrestleMania. And I know you said a couple of years ago, and it's the one quote that everyone ran with, that if you went to Raw or SmackDown, that you would rather retire than get to that point. Has your mindset changed in the last couple of years? I mean, if that was a possibility, or is it, listen, I'm NXT for life, and that's not a bad thing?
Yeah, I think it's people taking a quote and just running with it and taking it out of context.
Yep.
It was an interview I did a couple months after neck surgery, and what I said is I don't think my neck could handle a full-time schedule, and I'd rather just retire if I had to take on 300 dates a year, whatever it be.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm through 2 years post-neck surgery. I don't know. I think I want to say it's been 2 years and a little bit, or maybe, or something like that since neck surgery. And to be honest, again, like taking an opportunity from like the pandemic, and obviously it was a terrible situation, but a blessing when it comes to a limited schedule, you know? So I feel amazing physically, but I'm also not dumb, right? Like I'm intelligent enough to look at it and be like, okay, I feel amazing, but how often am I traveling and working right now? And what happens when that doubles, triples, quadruples? Yeah. So it's just one of those things where it has nothing to do with like I'm anti-Raw. We're all part of the same umbrella company. Yeah. It's all, like this is all like I'm not dumb. Like this is it's just. And the rosters across the board are full of just the most talented men and women around. Like it just is like, I think it just is one of those things that just got a little bit taken out of context. Yeah. Of, hey, will I do 300 dates a year anywhere in the world for anybody? No, but because I physically like it's not. I have a 2.5-year-old at home, and that I really enjoy spending time with. Yeah. And I have a surgically repaired neck on top of shoulders and knees, and like this isn't a matter of of want or liking something or disliking something. So it just got a little blown out of proportion because I definitely saw the headline and I was like, I don't know that that's exactly how I said it, or yeah, it is what it is. But like I'm open to do anything. It's got to make sense, yeah. It has to make sense. It has to make sense for my well-being. Like, for me, as a human being, as a husband, as a father, yeah, it's got to make sense. Like, I wish I was 21 again, and I was just like, oh, I'll take any bump. I'll do anything. That is absolutely not where I'm at in my life right now. So it just has to make sense. Like, I love professional wrestling. I love sports entertainment. I love what we do. But there's a piece of it now that's a business for me. It has to fit my puzzle. If it doesn't fit my puzzle, then yeah, I don't know. Like we'll have to take a step back.
Yeah, no, man, it's got to make sense. Like you said, people just looking for a headline. But no, it makes complete sense what you're saying because everyone's situation is different, As we wind down here, man, I thought it was great last week. Obviously, we had just a round of cuts, unfortunately. But you shouted out August Gray, who I know is from the Northeast area as well. As a Northeast guy myself, seeing him at Northeast Wrestling, New England Championship Wrestling, Chaotic, all those promotions that you have history with as well. Shouting him out, which I thought was cool. Do you have any one piece of advice for anyone either leaving NXT right now, the company in general, or whether it be, coming to WWE? Any piece of advice that you want to give to those people that you think that they can, use right now, so to speak?
Yeah, so for the people who I guess aren't aware, so when I was 21, I was signed and sent down to OVW. And within 6 months, I was released. And crushing, obviously, right? It's like your dream job, and it's just like, damn, my window was real quick, and some people are lucky that it's a little bit longer. But I remember when it happened, it was just kind of like the advice I was given, at least, was, go find yourself, and if this is something you love and you want to pursue it by all means, because like find yourself and get experience, and not just wrestling, but like get life experience. And that was like probably the best advice that was given to me at the time. That was my takeaway. and it just evolved. I mean, that was 2007. So really 14 years later, now obviously I'm back in the company and I've been here for a few years, but that process and that journey of finding myself as a man, as a performer, as just across the board, like that was something I don't think I would ever give back or trade back in. Like, it was just like, it's just that freedom of just like, man, like, go out there, make mistakes, and learn and grow and seize opportunities and stuff. You know, that really made me into the performer that I am today. And then, you know, it's just when the time comes and everything lines up, like, cash in and show out and you know, let the world see how damn good you are. And I think that's kind of the mindset you have to have. Like, you just gotta believe in yourself.
Yeah, no, it's a great mindset to have, whether, you know, wherever you are in your wrestling journey or just kind of in life in general. So I completely agree, man. But with that being said, obviously 20 years into the business, NXT Tag Team title match next week. Never slows down. You continue to kill it, you and Timmy, MSK, next Tuesday on the show. NXT Great American Bash. It's going to be great, man. Thanks a lot for the time, Tommaso. I had a chance to chat with you about Disney World right before COVID ended at an Evolve event in New York City. So it was one of my last in-person wrestling
I was there
shows.
last night, man.
Oh, you were there last night? What? At Disney World? Yeah, how was it?
Dude, our little one is so obsessed with that place. Like, it's the joy that little mermaid brings to her when they kiss at the end. It's like just standing ovation every time. And it's just one of them things where you're like, I don't know, man. What a way to like decompress from the real world, to just see a 2.5-year-old react to animatronics on a boat ride. You know, it's the greatest place on earth for sure.
Was that your first time back since, you know, everything's kind of died down, or you've been back since before then?
No. We take her as often as we can, and we've kind of like grown through the every stage that Disney has presented us with through their return, and because they're almost back to, like, you know, what they used to be and stuff. But like anything, it's just, we've kind of just rolled with the punches on it.
Yeah, no, it's been a rough year and a half, but going to Disney World makes everything worth it. You know, it's got to be worth it. I'm looking forward to going back myself. But like I said, Tommaso, you're the man. I appreciate the time. Thanks a lot, and best of luck on next Tuesday as well.
Thank you, dude. Appreciate it.